Hey guys, what's up Facebook? Hi Instagram. So today I am making one of my all-time favorite recipes, and it's rare. You will never hear me say favorite because I don't like it. When people are like, what's your favorite recipe? I'm like, well, that's like asking a parent what child is their favorite or what pet is your favorite. It's like, no. But this is one of my favorites. It's one of everyone's favorites. It's always really super popular. It's the everyday mushroom gravy. You might know it from my cookbook. It's also from the current meal plan, which is the good greens and gravy recipe. And that's actually what I'm going to make tonight. I'm going to do it all kind of like start, scratch, finish, all around, even chop my mushrooms with you guys just to hang out and have some fun. So I'm going to get started. Let's just do that. Okay. Oh, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to microwave a potato to go with my meal. So I don't have any grains or anything else on hand, so I'm just going to throw this in the microwave and let it multitask while I'm doing my thing. So I'm just going to stick that in there. Alrighty, here we are, sliding Facebook down, Instagram, you're right here in front of me. So the first thing is I'm going to get my kale and put it in my pressure cooker. I'm actually going to pressure cook my kale today. But if you don't have a pressure cooker, you can just steam it however you do, whether it's in your pot or a steamer, whatever, or you can leave it raw, if that's your thing too. So here's my big bushy kale, so pretty. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to take all the stem off. Now usually you guys see me and I have like the bag and I just dump it in, but my husband has told me he hates kale stems. And kale stems are actually in that pre-chopped bag, so I've gone back to buying my bushels, but that's okay because he's eating kale. Okay, so I'm just kind of pulling all my, nothing special here, just ripping it off. And as you can hear, my microwave potato is going, so yay. I've actually seen on Instagram like little tools that do this for you, but I don't need another tool in my life, so I just do it by hand. Sometimes if I'm really angry, I find this extremely therapeutic. All right, so I'm just kind of, like I said, dumping it here into my basin, and once it's all in there, I'm going to do something else, but for now, I'm just, getting this going, because I'm going to let this cook too while I'm also making my gravy. That way, everything's timed, and it's going to come out together at the same time, just a little planning like that, and here we go. Okay. I think that's sometimes the hardest part of pairing all of these things with meals is just like getting the first part started so that it all times perfectly. And if you use the meal plans, we order the directions that way. Like we literally say, microwave your potato, make your greens. Like, see, I just follow, man. That's all I have to do is I just follow. No thinking, just following. Super nice, no planning, no math, all that fun stuff. All right, so now that I have all of my kale here in my pot, one thing I do is I take it and I just rip it up a few more times so that there's no like super huge leaves. And so I'll just come in. Oh my gosh, my pugs smell it and now they're coming over for the kale stems because they love the kale stems. All right, so just a couple of whatevers. Now I have to add liquid to my pressure cooker or else it won't work, but yours might be a little different. Okay. So I just put it on 1 minute low pressure and then I do the quick release, but that's my preference. I don't like my kale to be cooked very much. I like it to still be bright green and pretty kale-like, not like super soft. So if you like yours to be really, really, really soft, you might want to do it a little bit longer. But, oh, I see someone said they had the good greens and gravy and they loved it. Yay! Oh, and someone else is making it tonight. Awesome. This is the last day for that meal plan. So if you want to get this recipe, today's your last day to sign up and get it. New meal plan tomorrow. But for this is always like my end of the week meal because the new meal plan comes out tomorrow. It's like, okay, what green vegetables do I have left over? What grains do I have left over? What beans do I have left over? Because this gravy goes on everything. It goes on pasta. It goes on rice. It goes on cauliflower rice. It goes on cauliflower, broccoli, green beans, asparagus. Any kind of leafy green, whether it's spinach or collards or kale or chard. Actually, I don't really like chard with anything. It's not for me. But it just goes, literally, so it's this gravy that ties together whatever stuff you have on hand. Like if it's white beans or kidney beans or chickpeas, like it just works. So this is always my end of the week meal. So when it's on the plan. Anyway, back to me. Plus it's a lazy meal for me. So my potato is now done. Yay! I'm just going to leave it in the pocket to hang out. All right, now let's get on to our gravy. Hi, pugs. Do you guys want a kale stem that bad? You do? You want a kale stem? They're like desperate for some kale. All right, so mushroom bottoms. I don't usually like them, but a lot of other people do. So you do you, but I'm just going to pull all my bottoms off. And that's my first step for chopping mushrooms. Also, when I was learning how to chop, like I didn't always have the fast chopping skills you guys see on these videos. Mushrooms were my favorite practicing form. So just a little insight to how I became a better chopper. And of course, depending on your store, you might have already even been able to buy pre-sliced mushrooms. They're like $2 more at my store, and I just have principles. And I'm like, you know, I am lazy and I like shortcuts, but that's a little too much for me. So, all right, so now I don't know how well you guys can see me chopping Instagram. So these little guys, I'm actually going to save them and make broth with it. So I freeze like tons of these and then make broth later. So for me, I don't know. I don't have a special system for slicing them. I just slice them. The thickness, I think, is also a personal preference. I don't like mine too thin, but I don't like them really chunky either because I kind of have texture issues, to be honest. And I did not eat mushrooms for years. Like, I thought they were gross and disgusting. I would not touch them. Even after I was vegan for several years, I was like, no, I just can't do mushrooms, can't do mushrooms. And then finally one day I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try again. And I started cooking with them a little bit more, and now I love them. And I can't imagine my life without mushrooms or without this particular gravy. And I'm so glad that I just sort of stuck with it and gave it a chance. And, you know, it's also a testament that when you clean up your diet, your health improves and also your tastes improve. Like, I love this so much more than all of the greasy gravies that I used to make. So hang in there, your taste will change. There are still some foods I don't like, but for the most part, my food preferences has expanded. So good news all around. This is also my parents' favorite gravy, and they make it at every holiday that we share. So it's a really exciting thing. So you can see my mushrooms are all nice and pretty here. So I'm just going to stick them over into my skillet now. Here we are. No mushrooms left behind. Oh, don't need a stem. Okay, so. And that was the hard part. The hard part's over. Now all I have left to do is to like add some seasoning while the mushrooms are doing their thing. So, I need a measuring spoon. So I'm using some nutritional yeast here. Smells so good. I don't know why, but nutritional yeast smells like popcorn to me, but maybe I've just like conditioned my brain to think that because I always put nutritional yeast on my popcorn. I don't know. Anyone else have that experience? It's super, I know, it's so weird. So I need that. I need some soy sauce. I'm actually using gluten-free tamari. We have a wheat allergy in the family, so I just tend to buy the wheat-free stuff. So there's that. And I add a little bit of onion. And you guys know me, I'm not a big measurer, but we do include exact ingredients with the recipes on the meal plans if you need it. Me, I just kind of like let it loose. Like a little bit more or less of garlic and onion isn't going to make a big deal. And the secret ingredient, in my opinion, is Italian seasoning. I know it sounds weird, but I think it adds a little something extra. And I tend to be really generous with that. I also tend to be very generous with black pepper because I love a peppered gravy. So I add a lot of pepper. But if you don't like pepper or you don't like spices, do not follow me with my obsessive adding of the pepper while I cook. So, and of course, what's my favorite whisk ever? A fork. Someday I'll buy a real whisk, guys. Someday, but today is not that day. All right, so I'm just going to add a little bit of this. There we go. Instagram, I can pick you up so you can check it out. Hi, Instagram. So there we go. We're starting our mushroom party. Facebook, I think you guys can see pretty good. Cool. So that's pretty much, we're just going to have to hang out now. Oops, that was loud. Sorry. Okay. I had to get my top out of my dishwasher because my top is always in my dishwasher because I use it every day. So now the only thing I really have left to do is to sit here and wait for my mushrooms to cook. And then once they cook, I just have to add a little bit of almond milk and then cornstarch to thicken it up, except tonight I'm actually not going to use cornstarch. I'm going to use a gluten-free all-purpose flour blend because my friend's coming over and he can't have corn. So, little substitution there, making it work, which is actually a really great tip. If you don't have cornstarch or you can't use cornstarch because of an allergy, such as my friend that's coming over, you can use arrowroot, but that's kind of hard to find. You have to go to a Whole Foods kind of place for it, and I don't like to go to those kind of places. So you can also use flour, any flour you've got. I actually like the rice flours that a lot of gluten-free folks have on hand. I like that. The only flour I don't like to use in gravies is chickpea. I just think the flavor is too strong. But I use gluten-free all-purpose blends. I've used rice flour. I've used wheat flour, whole wheat flour, white wheat flour. The dark wheat is also another one that I don't really like in gravies. What else have I used in there? I think once I used like teff. I don't know. I think I was really desperate once when I used that, and I don't even know how I had that. I think I was catering Ethiopian or something. Oh, my kale's done. I got to go let the big geyser out. So you can see it's kind of, oh, Instagram you can't see. So it's sort of like Old Faithful's happening right now. And that's just going to let it out, do its thing, then my kale's done. Waiting on my mushrooms. Oh my God, it smells so good already. Oh, I'm so excited. And that's it. So what I would normally do right now is, as you guys know who watch my videos all the time, is I would start like folding my laundry. Which I might do, although I don't know. I don't know if I know you all enough to see my laundry. But what I can do in the meantime is clean up a little bit. So I'm going to do that really quick while we're hanging out. And oh, you know what? I'm going to check my potato too, because sometimes the potato pocket doesn't nail it and it needs a little bit extra. But nope. Oh, look at that. It's perfect. It's that right kind of softness. So I'm going to stick it back in its pocket. Keeps it warm. And I'm just putting my spices away now, waiting on my mushrooms to go. That's usually like the worst part, is just the waiting a few minutes. No big deal. I'm just cleaning up. Another thing I often do is sometimes I'll prep for tomorrow. If I have another dinner planned for tomorrow, which I do because I follow the meal plans, I will start like chopping my vegetables or something. Just a little something always, because, you know, standing around is not always the funnest. But that's what I'll do, is I'll just sit here and fold my laundry, or sometimes when I'm not doing videos, I will also listen to like my news briefing on my Alexa, or I'll listen to a podcast or an Audible book. I'm actually at 181 books this year, guys. Can you believe it? 181 books. I actually had a very interesting experience over the weekend where I went into an Amazon bookstore. Did you know Amazon has bookstores? I think this is super strange because Amazon kind of like put bookstores out of business. So it's kind of weird that they're bringing them back, but I couldn't, like, I kept walking past shelves and books. I'm like, right, that book, and that book, and that book. And I was like, wow, self-high five, Lindsay. Good job. There was, like, it was hilarious. My husband and my best friend were with me, and they're like, is there a book here you haven't read? And I'm like, apparently not. And I think it's just because at the bookstore, they only put in, like, the super popular, like, five-star recipes, five-star rated books from their website in their store, and so those are the ones I tend to read. So there we go. Oh, someone also said about oat flour in the recipe. I've actually not had good luck with oat flour and gravies. I found it made it too gummy, but if that worked for you, cool. It didn't work for me. I don't know why. Oat flour can be really gummy. So, okay, here are my mushrooms cooking away. And you guys can see I'm just using cheap, generic, literally Kroger spices. I know a lot of you guys like swear by the more fancy ones, but I like the cheap stuff. I don't know, it works for me. So even my ginger is generic, although they call it like private selection. I don't know what that's about. So my mushrooms are cooking. You can see they're really beautiful. And this is where it becomes sort of, see, gorgeous, right? Beautiful. And this is where it becomes, again, a personal preference, is how much do you like your mushrooms to be cooked? Like how soft are they? For me, I like them real soft. Like I said, if you have a texture issue, maybe not. Oh, someone asked about almond flour and gravy. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do a nut-based flour, or even like the coconut ones. So now that these are all nice and soft, coming back over to my liking, I'm going to still add more pepper, because that's, like I said, that's what I'm going to do. Add some more pepper. Now I need to add my almond milk. And I've just been using the same cup, guys, so I don't have to dirty multiple cups. And I am going to, like I said, I'm going to add a little bit of, I'm using just like gluten-free all-purpose flour instead of cornstarch because, as I mentioned, my friend can't have corn. So there we go. And one important thing to note here is when you are whisking cornstarch, can you see? When you're whisking cornstarch into a liquid like this, the liquid has to be cold. If you try to whisk flour or cornstarch into a warm liquid, it's not going to happen for you. It's going to clump and it's going to be goopy and it's not going to be good. So make sure your liquid is room temperature, which is what mine was, or cold. Don't try to do it with warm liquid. You will be very sorry. And if you ever need to thicken something more and add more, do it outside, whisk it into a nice mixture, and then add it. So Instagram, you guys can have like a really pretty view of me. There we go. Look at that. Yay! And so now all I have left to do is to sit here and let it thicken into how thick I want my gravy. Again, it's very, very personal how thick you want your gravy to be. So that's pretty much it. There's the mushroom gravy. And Facebook, you want to come up? Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? It smells so good. I'm going to add still more pepper because I'm crazy. I'm just going to do that right now. I can't help myself. So for those who are asking, this recipe is on the current meal plan that's ending tonight. It's today's last chance to get it, so pop on over to getmealplans.com. It's the Happy Herbivore mushroom gravy. You've all heard about it, I know, because it's like all over the internet. I see it all the time, and it makes me so excited that you love it as much as I love it. And so that's it. I will post a final picture for you so you can see my plate with my stuff. And I'll just show you what my kale looks like real quick because I know some of you are probably curious. So, there's my, ew! Can you see it, kale? No? Oh, well, I tried. Oh, I know what I can do. There it is. You can see it's like a really nice green color. Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And that's it. That's my meal. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I will see you tomorrow when I release the new meal plan that's coming out. But get this one. You don't want to miss this gravy. It's going to save your butt through the holidays. I'm telling you. It was like, from the moment I created this recipe, it has been my holiday survival. I mean, I have made green bean casserole with it. I have put it over noodles when I had unexpected guests show up, and I was like, what the hell am I going to make? It puts all my odds and ends together. I love it, and it saves me, and it's so good. And I have friends from yoga who are like, I make that every single week. And I'm like, awesome. And also, I have made it with white mushrooms. Don't like it as much, but it works. I've also made it with portobellos, which, again, don't like it as much, but it works. So, I think anything as long as it's not like the shiitakes, that probably would even be fine, except shiitakes can be very chewy. So, all right, I love you guys. Have a beautiful night. I'll post a picture. I'll hang out with you soon. Go to getmealplans.com and get this recipe.